Force Yourself to Win. Written and published by Stoic Ranger. Introduction. What if I told you the rescue you've been waiting for is never coming? Not tomorrow, not next year, not ever. Nobody is going to knock on your door and fix your life. Nobody is going to chase your dreams for you, fight your battles for you, or pick you up every time you fall. The world will keep spinning while you wait. The opportunities will pass while you hesitate. And the harsh truth is, if you don't save yourself, you will stay stuck forever. But here's where everything changes. Because the moment you accept that no one is coming is the moment you discover your true power. You stop expecting and you start executing. You stop hoping and you start building. You stop surviving and you start winning. This video is not for the ones who want comfort. It's for the ones who are ready to break through every excuse, rise from every setback, and force themselves to win. Not because it's easy, but because it's the only option left. Are you ready? Then let's begin. Chapter 1. Burn the escape plan. The power of having no way out. If you give yourself an exit, even a small one, you will almost always take it when things get uncomfortable. That's just how the human mind works. It seeks the path of least resistance. When pressure builds, when the road gets rough, when failure whispers in your ear, your brain starts scanning for a way out. And if it finds one, whether it's a backup plan, a second option, or even the soft lie that maybe this isn't for me, it will take it. You will walk away, not because you are weak, not because you are incapable, but because you made retreat an option before you even started. And every time you allow yourself to quit easily, you strengthen the habit of giving up. Slowly, silently, and almost invisibly, you train yourself to surrender at the first sign of difficulty. Most people fail in life not because they lack talent or intelligence, but because they keep one foot out the door. They say they want to succeed, but they also want to stay comfortable. They say they're committed, but they also say, if this doesn't work, I'll try something else. They don't realize that the very act of keeping a backup plan is the reason their primary plan never works. And so, their dreams don't die in dramatic explosions. They fade away in soft, comfortable excuses. A little procrastination here, a little compromise there, a few missed days, a few lowered standards. And before they even notice it, their potential is buried under a mountain of quiet surrender. But the people who truly win, the ones who rise above the average and become unstoppable, they operate on a completely different level. They burn the escape plan. They don't keep one foot in safety while the other dabbles in greatness. They go all in, fully, ruthlessly, with no second option. And because there's no safety net, they are forced to fly. Because there's no turning back, they learn to go forward no matter what it costs. That kind of commitment creates a powerful energy inside you. It sharpens your focus, hardens your will, and lights a fire in your spirit that nothing can extinguish. Because you know failure is not allowed. Stopping is not acceptable. You will find a way, or you will build one from scratch. That is the mindset of a winner. When you burn the escape plan, everything changes. You stop negotiating with your goals. You stop checking how you feel before you take action. You stop having conversations with your fear, asking if it's okay to proceed. There's no room for that. You don't say, let's see how it goes. You say, I'm going to make it work, no matter what. It's not about being in the mood. It's about being committed. You don't wait for motivation. You move through discipline. You no longer need to believe everything will go perfectly. You just believe that you will keep going, no matter how imperfect it gets. Understand this. Your life will never fully change until you make a decision so serious, so deep, so irreversible that it forces you to level up. When you remove every excuse, when you eliminate every fallback, when you stop giving yourself the option to quit, you unlock a strength inside of you that most people never touch. Why? Because most people never force themselves to dig that deep. But you're not most people. So today, ask yourself, what are the exit doors I've been keeping open? What are the soft lies I tell myself when it gets hard? And more importantly, am I ready to burn them? Because until you do, until you fully commit, you'll always give yourself a reason to fall short. But the moment you burn the bridge behind you, the only path left is forward. And that's where your real power begins. This is what it means to force yourself to win. It's not about waiting for a better time. It's about creating one through fire and focus. It's about becoming the kind of person who does not need saving, because they've already saved themselves by refusing to give up. And it all starts the moment you stop asking for permission and burn the escape plan. Chapter 2. Discipline over emotion, the fuel of champions. One of the biggest reasons people fail to reach their full potential is because they are waiting to feel ready. They are waiting to be in the mood, waiting to feel inspired, waiting for motivation to strike like lightning. But motivation is not reliable. It comes and goes. Some days it's strong. Most days it's nowhere to be found. If your success depends on waiting to feel a certain way, then your future is held hostage by your emotions. And emotions, as powerful as they are not built for leadership. They change like the wind. They shift with your mood, with your energy levels, with your sleep, your environment, and even the weather. If emotions are the engine of your action, then your life will always stall when it matters most. This is why champions, high performers, and real winners build their lives around discipline, not emotion. Because discipline is dependable. It doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't wait for a good day. It shows up regardless of the circumstances. When you are disciplined, you do what needs to be done even when your body aches, even when your mind resists, even when your heart is heavy. You become consistent, and consistency is the foundation of all success. Greatness is not built in sudden bursts. It's built in quiet repetition. One step, one habit, one choice at a time. Think about it. Anyone can work hard when they're excited. Anyone can give their best when they're inspired. But those moments are rare. The question is, what do you do when no one is watching? When you feel tired? When the reward isn't immediate, when you feel like giving up? That's where discipline begins. That's where winners are forged. Not in the glow of praise or the rush of motivation, but in the silent grind of consistency. Discipline is the decision to act, even when your emotions are screaming at you to stay comfortable. It's waking up early when your bed feels like heaven. It's going to the gym when your body begs for rest. It's working on your dream after a long, exhausting day. It's turning off distractions and sitting down to focus when your mind craves escape. It's saying no to comfort, not because you hate yourself, but because you respect your future more than your feelings. And here's the truth. You will not always feel like it. You will have days where everything inside you says, "Not today." And in those moments, you must make a choice. Do you follow your emotion, or do you follow your commitment? Do you break your promises to yourself, or do you prove to yourself that your word means something? Because every time you act with discipline, you build a new identity. You teach your mind that you are someone who follows through, someone who finishes, someone who can be trusted. That's not just power, that's transformation. Discipline also teaches you emotional resilience. When you push through resistance again and again, you build strength, not just in your actions, but in your mind. You learn how to handle discomfort. You learn how to sit with frustration without quitting. You learn how to stay calm when things go wrong. And slowly, you become the kind of person who can be relied on, not just by others, but by yourself. Ask yourself this: how many times have you let a temporary emotion ruin a permanent opportunity? How many times have you given up on something that mattered because it got hard? That pattern ends here. You can't wait to feel ready. You must move now. You must decide that the version of you who is tired, sad, stressed, or overwhelmed will not run the show anymore. Discipline takes the wheel. Your feelings can ride in the back seat, but they don't get to steer. To live a life of greatness, you must fall in love with the process, not just the outcome. You must learn to act, not because you feel like it, but because your future demands it, because your dreams are worth it, because your time on this earth is too short to waste waiting on the perfect mood. The champions of this world are not made of magic. They are made of decisions, of habits, of relentless repetition. So force yourself to act, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because that's the moment that shapes your future. That's the moment that separates those who wish from those who win. You don't need motivation. You need a reason. You don't need a spark. You need a standard. You don't need to feel powerful. You need to become powerful through action. And every disciplined choice you make builds that power brick by brick, day by day. You don't need to control every emotion. You just need to master one thing: the ability to act anyway. Chapter 3. Pressure creates power. Stop running from struggle. Most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid pressure. They treat it like a threat, something dangerous and unbearable. They see struggle as a problem, as something to run from, to numb, or to hide behind excuses. They pray for a smooth path, for gentle days, for easy outcomes. But what they don't realize is that the very thing they're running from is the key to their transformation. You don't grow when everything is easy. You grow when life presses against you and you're forced to push back. You grow when the weight becomes so heavy that the only way to carry it is by becoming stronger. Pressure is not the enemy, it is the forge. And just like metal is shaped by heat and hammer, your character is shaped by the struggle you endure. But here's the hard truth: you don't get to control when the pressure comes. Life won't ask if you're ready. It won't check your calendar. It will simply arrive, sometimes slowly, other times all at once. And in those moments you have to decide, will this break me or will this build me? The world doesn't reward people who avoid struggle. It rewards those who rise through it. Every person you admire, every story that inspired you, every legend you've ever looked up to, they were all shaped by some form of pressure. They didn't become great by running away. They faced hardship. They endured loss. They were betrayed, rejected, laughed at, doubted, and crushed. But they used it. They didn't just survive it. They turned it into fuel. And that's what you must learn to do if you want to win in life. Most people pray for lighter burdens. The wise pray for stronger backs. Because if you keep asking life to be easy, you'll never develop the strength to handle anything hard. And life, no matter how much you plan, will always come with hard. There will be pain, there will be setbacks, there will be days that feel like punishment and nights that test your very will to continue. But those moments aren't just random suffering. They are assignments, opportunities disguised as hardship. If you can stop running from pressure and instead walk directly into it with courage, something profound will happen. You will start to change. The pressure forces you to grow. It reveals your weaknesses so you can fix them. It stretches your capacity so you can expand it. It shakes your illusions so you can face the truth. You discover what you're really made of. Not when you're comfortable, but when you're being pushed to your limit. That moment you think you can't go any further, but take one more step anyway. That's the real you being born. Let me tell you something most people don't want to admit. Greatness is not a gift. It is a response to adversity, a response to pressure, a response to life saying, let's see what you're made of. And only those who stop running and start rising find out what they're truly capable of. Because struggle isn't just a test, it's a teacher. It teaches you patience. It teaches you resilience. It teaches you humility. It teaches you how to keep moving forward, even with bruised knees and a bleeding heart. And eventually, it teaches you how to win. But here's the catch. Struggle won't help you unless you embrace it. You can't just go through hard times complaining, blaming, or waiting for them to end. You have to go through it like a student, watching, listening, learning, adapting. Every difficulty you face is a message. Every rejection is a redirection. Every failure is feedback. The universe is not trying to destroy you. It's trying to sculpt you. The pressure you feel is a sign that something inside you is being refined. And let's be honest, most people won't do this. They'll run. They'll numb themselves with distractions. They'll pretend everything's fine. They'll settle for comfort instead of rising through discomfort. But you, if you're reading this, it means something in you is ready to stop avoiding the very thing that will make you unstoppable, ready to stop hiding from the pain and start harnessing it. So here's the mindset you need. When the pressure comes, don't flinch, don't fall apart. Stand up taller, square your shoulders, and remind yourself, this is not the end. This is the beginning. This is where real strength is born. This is where my power is activated. You tell yourself, this pressure is not here to destroy me. It's here to introduce me to the version of myself that I haven't met yet. You will not rise by running from fire. You rise by walking through it and refusing to be burned. You rise by accepting the burden, carrying the weight, and using it to become more than you were before. Because pressure doesn't just reveal character, it creates it. And when you learn to treat struggle as sacred, when you learn to lean into it with grit and grace, when you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? You begin to access a power that very few ever unlock. So let the pressure come. Let it test you. Let it shape you. You are not here to live a life of safety. You are here to grow, to rise, to evolve. And every ounce of pressure that life places on you is an invitation to become stronger than you were yesterday. Do not reject the invitation. Do not waste the lesson, because the harder the pressure, the greater the power waiting on the other side. And when you come out of it, not broken, but built, you won't just be stronger. You'll be unrecognizable to the person you used to be. Chapter 4. Shut out the noise. No one will understand your fire. When you make the decision to change your life, to rise above average, to break the cycle of comfort and mediocrity, you will discover a painful but necessary truth. Most people around you will not understand your fire. They will not see your vision. They will not feel the urgency that keeps you up at night. And they won't understand why you've suddenly become distant, focused, or uninterested in the things you used to tolerate. Your transformation will confuse them. It might even offend them. Because your growth will highlight their stagnation, your discipline will expose their laziness, and your rising standards will make them uncomfortable with their own choices. And instead of cheering you on, many of them will try to pull you back. This is why so many people never break through. They start with passion and good intentions, but the noise of the world drowns out their inner voice. Doubt creeps in, not from inside, but from the outside, masked as concern, sarcasm, or mockery. "Why are you working so hard?" they ask. "Don't you ever relax? You've changed. You think you're better than us now?" At first you try to explain, you try to justify, You try to convince them that your dreams are real. But eventually you must learn the lesson that all great individuals have learned. Your fire was never meant to be understood. It was meant to be protected. People don't need to understand your path to respect it. And if they can't do even that, then it's your responsibility to keep walking anyway, because your vision is your responsibility. Your discipline is your gift, and your future will never be built by the approval of others. In fact, the more you rely on others to validate your journey, the more you hand over the power to destroy it. You must become so locked into your purpose that the noise around you becomes irrelevant. Because the truth is, the greater your calling, the lonelier your path will feel. Growth demands distance, mastery requires silence, and success often comes after a season of walking alone. This isolation is not a punishment. It's a passage, a rite of passage that every person chasing greatness must pass through. It is in this silence that you start to hear your own voice clearly. Without the chatter of the world, without the pressure to fit in, without the weight of opinions, you begin to reconnect with who you truly are. You remember what matters to you. You realize that you don't need to be liked to be great. You don't need to be understood to be unstoppable, and you don't need to explain your purpose to people who never took the time to discover their own. Shutting out the noise doesn't mean becoming cold or arrogant. It means protecting your peace, your purpose, and your energy. It means filtering what you allow into your mind and soul. Because not all opinions are equal. Not all voices deserve your attention. Some people talk simply because they're afraid of their own silence. Others criticize because they can't bear to watch someone become what they're too afraid to chase. And if you listen to them long enough, their fear will become your fear. Their doubt will plant seeds in your vision. Their limitations will start to feel like your own. And slowly, your fire will dim. Not because it wasn't strong, but because you allowed too much wind around it. So protect it, guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. Your future, your calling, your destiny, all of it rests on your ability to stay focused in a distracted world. That means turning down the volume on the critics, the complainers, the skeptics, and sometimes even the people you love. Because if they don't see the vision, if they don't carry the burden, if they haven't fought the battles you've fought, they don't get to vote on your path. Let them talk, let them laugh, let them doubt, but don't let them steer. You've come too far to let noise decide your next step. And yes, it will be lonely at times. You will crave someone to understand. You will wish for someone to walk beside you, but don't mistake the silence for abandonment. Sometimes solitude is not isolation, it's preparation. You are being trained, focused, sharpened. The universe removes distractions before delivering destiny. And if you can survive this season without applause, without validation, without company, you will emerge more powerful than ever. You will become someone who doesn't just survive the noise, but rises above it. This chapter in your life is not about proving yourself to others. It's about proving to yourself that your vision is worth protecting, that your time is worth guarding, that your soul is worth preserving. Don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to walk away. Don't be afraid to stay quiet while the world screams. Because the deeper your silence, the louder your results will become. And in time, the very people who questioned your journey will be asking how you did it. But by then, you'll be too far ahead to hear them. So move forward, alone if you must. Shut out the noise, amplify your focus, and trust that the fire within you will always burn brighter than the doubt around you. Chapter 5. Get obsessed with the mission. Average effort is a death sentence. There is a level of success you will never touch if you approach your goals casually. If you treat your dream like a side hobby, it will treat you like a side note in life. Most people fail not because they're incapable, not because they lack talent, not even because they don't want it, Most people fail because they never fully commit. They never cross the line from interest to obsession. They keep their goals in the background, tucked between distractions and doubts, waiting for the right moment to finally give it everything. But the truth is, average effort will never give you extraordinary results. You cannot sleepwalk into greatness. You have to wake up starving for it. You have to make your mission your oxygen. You have to get obsessed. When you are obsessed, everything else becomes secondary. Your life becomes laser-focused around one central objective. Your decisions change, your habits change, your environment changes. You begin filtering everything through a simple question: does this move me closer to my mission or farther away from it? And if the answer is no, you cut it. No apologies, no second-guessing, no emotional negotiations. Obsession brings clarity, and clarity demands sacrifice. Look at the most successful people in the world, whether they are athletes, artists, inventors, entrepreneurs, or warriors. They all share one common trait: obsession. They don't kind of want to win. They don't just work hard when it's convenient. They don't seek balance. They seek excellence. Their mission consumes them, drives them, and pulls them forward when everything else tries to hold them back. That level of focus is not unhealthy. It is necessary, because the world is filled with people who are half committed, half disciplined, half awake. If you want to rise above them, you must be willing to give more. Not just more hours, but more heart, more energy, more sweat, more soul. Obsession means showing up even when no one is clapping for you. It means doing the hard work in silence, knowing that one day the results will make the noise. It means pushing through fatigue, ignoring distractions, and saying no to everything that does not serve your growth. It's not about being rigid or robotic. It's about being purposeful. It's about refusing to live a life of regret because you were too afraid to go all in. When you are obsessed, failure doesn't stop you, it feeds you. Doubt doesn't weaken you, it sharpens your resolve. Obstacles don't discourage you, they challenge you to dig deeper. And yes, people will misunderstand you. They will call you intense, extreme, or too focused. Let them. Their confusion is confirmation that you're on a different frequency. You don't need to explain your fire to those who are satisfied with smoke. Most people fear obsession because it threatens their comfort. But comfort is the enemy of progress. Comfort lulls people into average. It keeps them safe, soft, and stagnant. Obsession wakes you up. It tears you away from mediocrity. It demands more of you, and it gives more in return. You see, when you give average effort, life gives you average back. But when you give everything, your focus, your attention, your consistency, life eventually breaks. It bends in your direction. It rewards the relentless. It opens doors for the obsessed. It listens to those who refuse to be ignored. Because obsession creates momentum. It compels you to study when others sleep, to build while others scroll, to rise early while others waste their mornings, to train when others rest. And slowly the gap widens. Your quiet sacrifice becomes your advantage. Your pain becomes your edge. Your tunnel vision becomes your weapon. But obsession doesn't come easy. It must be built. It starts with a decision, one honest, ruthless decision that says, I'm done playing small. Then it's followed by action. Not once, not when you feel like it, every single day. You feed your vision with repetition, with commitment, with discipline, until it grows roots inside you and becomes who you are, not just what you do. You don't chase your dream anymore, you become it. And here's what most people don't understand. Obsession gives you freedom. It's not a cage, it's a compass. It simplifies your life. You don't waste time wondering what to do or where to go. Your path becomes obvious. Your choices become sharper. Your energy is no longer scattered, it's concentrated. Focused energy is powerful. It breaks barriers, it dissolves distractions, it moves mountains. But the cost of obsession is high. You will lose friends, you will disappoint people, you will miss parties, outings, and weekends. You will be misunderstood, mocked, and even abandoned. But you will also grow. You will evolve. You will earn a peace that comfort can never provide. And one day, when you look back, you will realize it was all worth it. Every lonely night, every painful repetition, every silent grind. You will see the results and say, I did this, I made this happen, and I wouldn't change a thing. So stop playing it safe. Stop acting like you have forever. Stop pretending that you can reach your dream with a lukewarm heart. If it matters to you, prove it. Don't just talk about the mission, live it. Bleed for it, fight for it, build your life around it. Because in a world that's okay with average, obsession is your rebellion. It's your weapon. It's your ticket out of mediocrity and into greatness. And if you're not obsessed yet, that's okay. Start today. Feed the fire. Train your focus. Cut the noise. And every day, take another step deeper into the life you were born to build. Because average effort is not just a disappointment. It's a death sentence for your potential. Chapter 6. Build an unbreakable mind. Nothing can destroy you without your permission. Everything in your life, your success, your peace, your focus, your future, starts and ends in one place, your mind. It doesn't matter how much strength you have in your body, how much money you have in your account, or how many opportunities you stumble across. If your mind is fragile, if your thoughts are chaotic, if your emotions are easily hijacked, then everything around you becomes unstable. A weak mind cannot carry a strong life. And if you do not take control of what happens inside your head, then everything outside of you will always control you. Life is going to test you. That's a guarantee. You will face moments that feel unfair, people who hurt you, failures that crush you, and storms that seem endless. But none of those things, no matter how dark or painful, can truly break you unless you give them permission to. That is the power of your mind. It is the final gatekeeper. And until you learn how to fortify it, train it, and discipline it, you will always feel like a victim of life's circumstances. But once you do, once you make your mind unshakable, untouchable, and razor-sharp, then nothing can move you without your consent. You become the storm. You become the anchor. You become unstoppable. But here's the truth most people never hear. A strong mind is not something you're born with. It's not some magical gift that only a few lucky people get. It's something you build through trials, through challenges, through repetition. You build it the same way you build a strong body, by pushing it, stressing it, breaking it down, and rebuilding it stronger. Every time you go through pain and don't quit, your mind becomes stronger. Every time you feel fear and move anyway, your confidence expands. Every time you experience failure and refuse to let it define you, your mind becomes more powerful than it was before. But it doesn't happen on accident. You must train it intentionally. That means watching your thoughts like a hawk. Because your thoughts are not just background noise, they are instructions. What you repeat becomes what you believe, and what you believe becomes how you live. If your internal dialogue is filled with doubt, fear, blame, and self-pity, you will never rise above the level of your mindset. But if your inner voice becomes a commander instead of a complainer, firm, focused, resilient, then you can face anything the world throws at you and keep moving forward. To build an unbreakable mind, you must first learn to silence the inner chaos. That means cutting off the habits that keep you mentally weak. Stop feeding your brain with constant distractions. Stop numbing yourself with comfort. Stop entertaining every emotion like it's a command. Most people are slaves to their feelings. If they feel tired, they quit. If they feel hurt, they lash out. If they feel scared, they retreat. But the person with a strong mind does not let emotions run the show. They acknowledge the feeling, but they follow their mission. A strong mind doesn't deny fear. It just doesn't bow to it. It doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It adapts. It doesn't seek comfort. It seeks clarity. And most importantly, it doesn't react impulsively. It responds intelligently. You must become a master of your reactions, because every moment in life, something will try to get a reaction from you. A negative comment, a setback, a person who disrespects you, a situation that shakes your plans. And every time you react without thinking, you hand over your power. But when you pause, when you breathe, when you stay centered, you keep control. And that control, that is mental strength. Understand this. Your thoughts are not facts. Just because your mind says something doesn't make it true. You must challenge your own thoughts. You must ask, is this thought helping me or hurting me? Is it building my future or sabotaging it? Is it fear speaking or is it truth? If the thought is destructive, replace it. If it's false, silence it. You don't have to believe every voice in your head. Train your thoughts like you train a wild horse, firmly, patiently, relentlessly, until they obey your purpose. And you cannot build a powerful mind without protecting what you feed it. Your environment matters. The people you surround yourself with, the content you consume, the words you speak over yourself. These are the bricks that build your mental fortress or the cracks that weaken it. Choose wisely. Don't let negative people rent space in your head. Don't allow the media, the noise, the gossip, the opinions of others to plant seeds of doubt in your garden. Guard your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. But here's the real secret. The most unbreakable minds are not the ones that never feel pain. They're the ones that know how to turn pain into power. They don't deny their wounds. They use them. They don't pretend to be fearless. They choose courage despite fear. They don't seek a perfect life. They seek to become the kind of person who thrives no matter what life throws their way. They transform every challenge into a lesson, every failure into a foundation, every setback into a setup for the next level. That's the kind of mind you must build. And once you do, everything changes. You stop being reactive. You stop being easily offended, easily shaken, easily broken. You start making better decisions. You start leading yourself. You become dependable, calm, confident, even under pressure. And people will begin to wonder how you do it. They'll say you're lucky or gifted or special. But what they won't see is the years of silent mental training. The mornings you fought through doubt, the nights you battled your inner critic, the countless moments where you could have broken down, but you didn't. That's how Unbreakable is built. Brick by brick, battle by battle, decision by decision. Not loud, not flashy, but firm, relentless, and sacred. So if you want to rise in this life, don't just work on your skills, work on your mind, because when your mind becomes stronger than your circumstances, then nothing and no one can stop you. Chapter 7. Take ruthless ownership. No more blame, no more waiting. At some point in your journey, maybe today, maybe years ago, maybe right now, you will come face to face with the moment that decides everything. A moment not of crisis, but of clarity, where you stop pointing fingers, where you stop explaining your pain, where you stop waiting for life to apologize, for others to understand, for circumstances to change. In that quiet, raw moment, one truth will hit you so hard it shakes your soul. No one is coming to fix this. No one is responsible for this life but you. Not your parents, not your boss, not your friends, not your ex, not society, not even God, because He already gave you the power to act. The rest is on you. Most people don't want to hear this. They want to believe their problems are someone else's fault. They want a villain in the story, someone to blame, someone to resent. They cling to old wounds, carry their childhood pain, replay old betrayals, and use them as shields to avoid responsibility. I would have succeeded if I had better parents. I would have tried harder if people believed in me. I could have been more, but life didn't treat me fairly. These sound like reasons, but they are chains. Mental chains that keep you locked in a version of yourself that was built from pain instead of power. But you are not a prisoner, and you are not powerless. You are the author of this story, and every day you breathe is another blank page. The only thing that keeps you from changing your life is the belief that you are not in control. But here's the truth. You are. You always were. You just haven't owned it fully yet. And until you do, until you take ruthless, full, unapologetic ownership of your life, you will remain stuck in a cycle that feels like survival instead of success. Ruthless ownership means this: I own my choices. I own my results. I own my failures. I own my growth. It means no more excuses, no more waiting, no more blaming traffic, genetics, trauma, the economy, or other people's decisions. Yes, you were hurt. Yes, you were abandoned. Yes, you were lied to. Yes, you were dealt an unfair hand. But what now? Will you let those moments define the rest of your life? Or will you use them as fuel to rise, to rebuild, to become the kind of person who doesn't just survive the storm, but becomes the storm? Because here's the reality. The longer you blame, the longer you delay your transformation. The longer you wait for someone to come and make it right, the longer you give away your power. The moment you say, "This is mine, all of it," the mess, the glory, the failure, the comeback, "it's mine," is the moment you become unstoppable. You no longer need pity. You no longer need validation. You no longer need someone to come and tell you, "Now it's your time." You tell yourself, you give yourself permission. You grab the steering wheel and start driving. And something powerful happens when you take full responsibility. Your standards rise. You stop settling. You stop tolerating things that insult your potential. You stop engaging in drama, laziness, distractions, and anything that pulls you away from who you're trying to become. You start treating your time like treasure, your energy like currency, your mind like sacred ground. And you begin to attract opportunities that match your level of commitment. Because life respects ownership. The universe rewards clarity. Doors open for those who move with authority, not apology. Ruthless ownership is not about guilt. It's not about carrying shame or pretending you have control over everything. It's about owning your response to everything. You can't control the weather, but you can prepare for the storm. You can't control people's opinions, but you can control how much space they occupy in your mind. You can't control every outcome, but you can control the effort you give, the perspective you hold, and the discipline you apply. That's where your power lives, not in controlling everything, but in owning your part of everything. And yes, it's hard. It's easier to stay angry. It's easier to blame. It's easier to wait. But easy is expensive. Easy robs you of strength. Easy builds a life of regret. Ownership is hard, but it builds freedom. It builds pride. It builds a legacy. So stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop waiting for a sign. Stop waiting for someone to give you permission to go all in. The moment you say, "This is my life, and I will rise regardless of what I've been through," everything begins to shift. Let go of the need to be rescued. Let go of the dream that someone will come and save you. You are the rescue. You are the hero. You are the answer. And when you finally stand up, when you finally look yourself in the mirror and say, "It's all on me now," something wakes up inside you, a fire, a force, a focus that can't be bought, borrowed, or given. It's earned. and once you've earned it, no one can take it from you. So take ownership of your past, of your pain, of your potential, of your power. Let that be your standard, not next week, not next year, not when it feels convenient. Now, today, this moment, because the more responsibility you accept, the more control you gain, and the more control you gain, the more freedom you create. And freedom, not comfort, is what this life is really about. This is your life. Own it, lead it, build it. Don't explain it. Don't wait for it. Don't waste it. Force yourself to rise. Force yourself to act. Force yourself to win, because no one is coming. And once you fully accept that, you'll realize something even more powerful. No one needs to, because you've got this. Chapter 8. Become the one who refuses to be broken. The world tries to crush you, but you rise stronger. There comes a time when life stops testing you gently. It stops knocking politely and begins slamming doors in your face. It stops giving warnings and starts throwing storms. You lose people you trusted. You fail in things you were sure would succeed. Your plans fall apart. Your name is misunderstood. Your character is attacked. Your loyalty is betrayed. And before you can even catch your breath, it happens again and again and again. It is in these moments that the world isn't just testing your strength. It's trying to break your spirit. It wants to see what you're made of. It wants to see if you will fold, if you will doubt your worth, if you will believe the lie that you're not good enough, not strong enough, not worthy of anything more than pain. And this is where many people fall, not because they didn't have potential, but because they didn't know how to stand back up once life crushed them. But you are not here to break. You are here to rise. Let me tell you a truth that most will never understand. The most powerful people in this world are not the ones who never fell. They're the ones who refused to stay down. They crawled when they couldn't walk. They whispered victory when their voice was gone. They smiled through tears, trained through heartbreak, worked through betrayal. Not because it was easy, but because they made a decision that no matter what life took from them, it would never take their will, never take their courage, never take the fire inside that whispered, "I will not be broken." You see, the world is not fair. It never was, and it never will be. But that's not the problem. The problem is when we expect fairness from it. The real power begins when you stop expecting the world to be kind, and you decide to be unshakable anyway. When you stop looking for life to hand you peace, and you learn how to build it inside of chaos. When you stop begging for ease, and instead ask for strength. Because every time life tries to break you, it gives you two options. Let it define you, or let it forge you. And the difference lies in how you respond. You must learn to stand tall with trembling legs, to keep your head high when your heart is breaking, to act even when fear fills your chest like fire. That's what real strength looks like. Not perfection, not having it all together, but showing up anyway, bleeding, sweating, crying, but still showing up. The people who rise are not made of stone. They feel pain deeply. They cry in silence. They fall apart behind closed doors. But what makes them different is what they do after that. They wipe their face. They take a deep breath. And they move forward again. Because they know one thing. The world might knock you down, but it can't kill the person who refuses to stay down. Pain doesn't get to write your story unless you hand it the pen. So ask yourself, how many times have you stopped yourself from moving forward because someone hurt you, because something didn't work out, because life didn't go as planned? And now ask yourself, how long will you carry that weight? How long will you let the world dictate what kind of life you get to live? When will you decide that no matter what happens to you, you're going to rise anyway? It doesn't matter how deep the betrayal, how loud the criticism, how heavy the failure. You have the power to choose your response, and in that response is where your destiny is shaped. Not in what happened, but in what you do next. You must become the kind of person who rebuilds with whatever is left. If all you have is silence, you build with that. If all you have is pain, you use it to create power. If all you have is failure, you use it as the foundation. Nothing can destroy you if you decide that it won't. That is not denial. That is determination. That is not fantasy. That is focus. That is not arrogance. That is ownership. Ownership over your mind, over your story, over your future. There is something that happens to you when you stop running from your breaking points and start walking into them. You begin to realize that every crack in your life let light in, that every breakdown was a blueprint for your next breakthrough, that the fire that tried to consume you actually refined you, and suddenly the weight you carry becomes your strength. The scars you hide become your armor. The losses you mourn become your lessons. And from that place, you become dangerous, not to others, but to every excuse that ever tried to hold you back. You become someone who's seen the worst and still chooses to believe in the best, someone who's lost everything and still chooses to build, someone who's been broken and still chooses to love. That kind of spirit cannot be replicated. It cannot be taught. It can only be earned, through tears, through solitude, through the decision to keep fighting when there is no applause and no one watching. Let this be your vow. I will not be broken, not by fear, not by failure, not by rejection, not by loss, not by the cruelness of this world, because I know who I am becoming, I know what I'm building, I know what I've survived, and I will not hand over my future just because the past tried to hurt me. Every scar on my soul is a sign that I survived. Every ache in my heart is a reminder that I still feel. And every breath I take is another chance to rise again. So, rise. Even when you're tired, even when it's dark, even when no one believes in you, even when the world keeps throwing storms at you. Rise, not because it's easy, but because you've already come too far to quit now. You didn't survive everything just to live a small life. You didn't suffer this much just to end up average. You are not here to break. You are here to build. You are here to lead. You are here to win. And nothing, not pain, not doubt, not the past, can stop the person who refuses to be broken. Chapter 9. Master the art of relentless momentum. Never slow down once you begin. There's a secret that high achievers, warriors, and visionaries all understand. A law that separates the unstoppable from the average, the builders from the dreamers, the finishers from the starters. It's this: momentum is everything. Once you begin, you must not slow down. Once you take the first step, you must commit to the second, and then the third. And then keep going until forward motion becomes your natural state. Because the moment you hesitate, the moment you pause for too long, the weight of the world begins to creep back in. Doubt returns, fear grows, distraction multiplies, and before you know it, the fire you lit begins to flicker, not because it wasn't real, but because you stopped feeding it. Momentum is not built in one big push. It is built in thousands of tiny, disciplined actions that compound into unstoppable force. It's created not by intensity, but by consistency. Anyone can start strong. Anyone can have a burst of motivation, a surge of energy, a powerful first move. But only the relentless. Only the ones who keep showing up after the emotion fades, after the applause dies, after the obstacles grow heavier, only those people win. Because they understand that momentum is a living thing, and if you don't protect it, it dies. Most people live in cycles. They get inspired, they take action for a few days, and then life gets hard again. So they pause, and when they pause, they lose everything they just gained. They don't realize how heavy restarting is until they've done it 50 times. It's exhausting. It feels like pushing a dead weight up a hill over and over again. But those who master momentum, they never stop pushing, even if it's slow, even if it's small, even if it's messy. They move every single day. That's the art you must learn, because life will not hand you a smooth road. The mission will get hard. You will face resistance. There will be days when you feel numb, empty, or completely disconnected from your purpose. But that's where momentum saves you. It's the force that keeps you moving when motivation is gone. It's the habit that takes over when inspiration disappears. It's the structure that catches you when life tries to knock you down. You must build systems that pull you forward, routines that demand your progress, standards that do not allow laziness, even when no one's watching. You must eliminate the emotional conversations that say, "Should I do it today?" and replace them with the decision that says, "It's already done. I don't negotiate with my goals, I obey them." That mindset makes you dangerous. It makes you efficient. It makes you unstoppable. But momentum is fragile. It doesn't tolerate laziness. It doesn't wait for you. It must be fed. Daily, repeatedly, ruthlessly. You have to protect it like it's your life, because in many ways it is. The momentum you build now will shape your future. It will determine who you become. And if you allow yourself to slow down, to justify missed steps, to say, "I'll start again tomorrow," then tomorrow becomes next week, then next month, then someday, and someday never comes. You must learn to fall in love with movement, not with results, not with praise, not with milestones, just with the process of motion itself. Because when you move daily, you begin to change how you see yourself. You begin to trust yourself. You become someone who acts, not someone who plans endlessly. You become a doer, a producer, a creator. And that identity, that's the real win. Because when the identity locks in, the results become inevitable. And here's something most people don't understand. Momentum is emotional too. When you move, you feel powerful. When you create, your confidence grows. When you take action, even in chaos, your mind calms. You step into alignment. And when that alignment multiplies, so does your output, so does your energy, so does your ability to push through storms without needing a perfect environment to thrive. The truth is, the world does not reward those who start. It rewards those who finish, and finishing requires momentum. So every single day, you must make the choice. Will I feed it or let it fade? Will I push or pause? Will I create progress or surrender to distraction? And the answer to those questions will decide where your life goes from this point forward. Don't underestimate the power of small wins. They are the bricks of greatness. Every workout you show up for when you're tired, every hour of focused work when you'd rather scroll, every meal you eat with discipline when junk food calls your name, every time you speak truth when your emotions tell you to hide, those are the moments that build momentum, not dramatic changes, not overnight shifts, but small, powerful, repeated actions that eventually erupt into transformation. But none of this happens unless you decide. Decide that from now on, hesitation is not an option, that your goals are not hobbies, they are responsibilities, that your future isn't something you're hoping for, it's something you're building, and once you've made that decision, you lock it in. No more starting over, no more pausing for weeks because life got hard. You show up, you move forward, you keep going, always. Because once you master momentum, you don't just move through life, you glide through it with force. You push through resistance with ease. You start to feel your own power rising, and you wonder why you ever doubted it. That's when you realize you were never lacking strength. You were just lacking motion. So from this day forward, let this be your promise. I don't stop. I don't slow down. I don't start over. I building. I grow. I keep moving. And I will never break my own momentum again. Because I understand now that motion creates meaning. That effort becomes identity. That movement, even slow, is always better than perfection delayed. This is how legends are made. This is how warriors are built. This is how destiny unfolds, not in massive, dramatic moments, but in the quiet, consistent ones that most people ignore. You want to become great. Don't stop. Don't wait. Don't look back. Build your momentum, and never let it go. Chapter 10. Rewrite your story before life writes it for you. Take control or be controlled. Every person walking this earth is living inside a story shaped by experiences, by beliefs, by culture, by pain, by victories, by moments both remembered and forgotten. Some stories are heroic, filled with chapters of courage and relentless pursuit. Others are tragic, drenched in silence, regret, and unexplored potential. But here's the truth that separates the extraordinary from the forgotten. Your story is not finished. It never was. And unless you take control of the pen, life will write it for you. You see, life is always writing. The world is always telling you who you are, through media, through people, through expectations, through wounds you didn't ask for, and voices you never invited. If you are not intentional, those voices become your narrative. You're too old. You're too young. You're not smart enough. You're not worthy. You'll never recover from this. This is just how life is. And most people, they accept that script. They internalize it. They begin to live as if those words are the law. But they're not. They're just someone else's projection. And the moment you believe them, you hand over your future to a version of yourself that isn't even yours. You were not born to live a script written by fear. You were not created to play small in a story built by doubt. You were not sent to this earth to live out the same tired lines that others handed you. You were born to rewrite, to redirect, to rise. And the only way to do that is to take full, unapologetic control of the narrative. That means sitting with yourself, deeply, painfully, and asking, whose voice am I following? Whose pain am I carrying? Whose doubts have I made my own? And once you identify them, you tear them out. Not with anger, but with awareness. You pull them from the pages of your life and replace them with truth. Your voice, your fire. But rewriting your story isn't easy, because it means challenging everything you once accepted as normal. It means breaking cycles that have been passed down for generations. It means refusing to let trauma be your personality. It means giving up the excuse of, that's just how I am, and replacing it with, this is who I choose to become. It means becoming the kind of person who doesn't just dream about a new life, but declares it, builds it, and walks it, even when it's lonely, even when it's hard, even when no one else believes in the new version of you yet. Because no one can stop you once you decide to rewrite your story. Not the past, not the pain, not the failures, not the betrayals. Because in your hands is the most powerful tool a human can hold, the power to choose. You can choose to stop playing victim. You can choose to stop reliving the same cycles. You can choose to build new habits, to create new standards, to speak new words over yourself. You can choose to stop waiting for closure and instead create a new chapter without it. You can choose to stop surviving and start becoming. But here's the catch. If you don't write your story, someone else will. Life will do it for you. It will keep you on autopilot. It will hand you routines you didn't choose, habits you didn't question, patterns that were never yours, days that blend into years. Until one day you wake up, not in a life you built, but in a life you settled for. A life shaped by everyone else's version of you except your own. That is the real danger, not failure, not rejection, but forgetting who you truly are because you never paused long enough to remember. You never got quiet enough to hear your own voice through all the noise. You never took back the pen. But you can now. You don't have to wait for some magical moment. You don't need the world's permission. You don't need to be healed or whole or ready. You just need to decide, this ends with me. The fear, the silence, the cycles, the shame, it ends now. And from this day forward, I write my own script. I define my own standards. I set my own rules. I create my own path. I build the kind of life that my younger self deserved and my future self will thank me for. Because here's what they won't tell you. The most powerful people in the world are not the loudest. They are the ones who rewrite quietly, who rebuild privately, who choose peace over performance, who walk away from old identities without making a scene, who no longer explain their growth to people committed to misunderstanding them, who change their story not to impress the world, but to become free within themselves. You don't need to scream your transformation. Let your life whisper it through every healed moment. Let your actions speak it into the world. Let your peace become louder than your pain ever was. You are the author now, not the trauma, not the fear, not the old voices, not the world. You. And the pen doesn't move on its own. You must write, every day, with your choices, with your discipline, with your courage, with your silence, with your refusal to settle. Rewrite your story before life writes it for you, because time moves fast. And if you don't act, you'll find yourself trapped in a version of life that looks nothing like your soul, and wonder how you got there. But if you move now, if you write now, if you build now, then this life, this one short and sacred life, will finally begin to look like the one you were born to live. This is your story. Don't live it by default. Live it by design.